All right, everyone. So I'm going to try not to keep this too long. I know the last one we did when we did a test review was like over 30 minutes long. So I do want to show you a lot of this stuff on the board so that if you have any questions, it'll help you. Please make sure that you email me or send me a reminder if there's something you don't get or you didn't get this answer and I did, and you want to know how I got my answer, it didn't make sense, something like that, you got to email, you got to send a reminder, otherwise I can't really help you, okay? So just do that, and hopefully the video will just kind of clear up any questions. Remember that you can use your notes on your test, so anything we go over, you can put in your notes, and it can kind of help you out during your test. I would totally write that down. All right, on the front page here, the first one, we have x cubed times x to the 15th. We know when we're multiplying, we're going to keep the base, we're going to add the exponents. So we just keep the base, add the exponents, that'll give me x to the 18th. Same thing with number 2. Remember that if you don't see an exponent on something, there's really a 1 there. So keep the base, add those exponents, that'd be 5 to the 10th. And number 3, we have 3x squared times 9x to the 4th. So the x's have the same base, we keep the base, we add the exponents. But then the 9 and the 3 do not have the same base, so we have to do whatever the problem says for those. In that case, it's going to be multiply. So 3 times 9 is going to give me 27 x to the 6th for my answer. And I think I can fit one more on here, right? Let's see. Negative 4y to the negative 3rd times 6y to the 11th. Again, our y's have the same base. Even though that y has a negative exponent, that's the last thing I'm going to fix. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to just keep the base. I'm going to add the exponents. Negative 3 plus 11 is 8. And then negative 4 and 6, again, don't have the same base, so we're just going to multiply them. That gives me negative 24. And you might think, hey, Mr. Roddy, that's negative 24, so should I put it on the bottom? Do I need to move it? No. Right? Even though it's a negative number, it has a positive exponent. Its exponent would be 1. So only negative exponents I'm going to move. Positive exponents, even though it's a negative number, that's okay. All right, let's go to 5. We got 12a to the negative 9th times 3a to the 3rd. So again, I'm not going to worry about negative exponents till the very end. I'm multiplying, so I'm going to use the multiplication rule, keep the base, add the exponents. Negative 9 plus 3 is negative 6. 12 and 3, I'm just going to multiply because they're not the same base. So that'd be 36. And then this time we do have a problem because now we have a negative exponent in our answer, and we're not allowed to have that. So we're going to have to make it a fraction. The a is going to move to the bottom. The 36 is going to stay on top. So 36 over a to the 6th. Just like so. Cool. Number 6, 15x to the 8th over 3x to the 5th. Now we're dividing. So the division rule says you keep the base, you subtract the exponents, right? So the x's have the same base, keep the base. 8 minus 5 is 3. And 15 and 3, again, they don't have the same base, so we just do whatever the problem says. This time that's divide. So 5x to the 3rd. 27, 28 to the 21st over 28 to the 9th. Again, these have the same base, so we're not going to divide those numbers, right? We keep the base. So we keep the base, subtract the exponents. What was that, 12? Yeah. So 28 to the 12th, and I'm just going to leave it like that. Remember, you want to leave your stuff in the simplest terms possible. For this one, we can just leave it 28 to the 12th. We don't have to actually figure out what 28 times 28 times 28 times 28 is, right? All right, number 8. Number 8. 8y cubed over 12y to the 7th. So again, we have exponents. or numbers with the same base, so we can subtract their exponents. Keep the base. 3 minus 7 is negative 4. And then the 8 and the 12, we're going to divide those, but we're going to get a decimal. And we are not going to write decimals on our test. I guess in the scientific notation part we are, but typically we want to leave everything as a fraction if possible. So think of this number as just a fraction, 8 over 12. And then we want to simplify it. So 4 goes into both of those, right? So 4 goes into 8 2 times. 4 goes into 12 3 times. And then we have this y still. So that's like over 1, right? So it's a negative exponent. We need to move it to the bottom. So I'm just going to put it on the bottom next to 3. And then it will have a positive 4 once I move it. So be careful with the fractions. If you divide, you get a decimal. Just think in your head, leave it as a fraction, you'll be fine. Number 9 is power to a power. So we have this exponent on the outside, and we're going to multiply it by every exponent on the inside. So multiply by 4, by 2, by 5, and don't forget there's really a 1 here. So our final answer is going to be 5 to the 6th, x to the 30th, y to the 12th, z to the 24th. Same thing with number 10. We have 3a to the 4th over c to the 9th, all to the 4th. So again, even if it's a fraction, the exponent on the outside goes to everything. So there's really a 1 here. So it's going to go to the 1 times the 4 times the 9 on the bottom also. So 3 to the 4th, a to the 16th, over c to the 36th. All right, 4 more on the front here. So 11, there's definitely going to be one like this in your test. This is the hardest one. So first thing we're going to do is do power to a power to everything. This marker is like dying on me here. That's better. You're going to actually be able to see now. Sorry about that. So remember there's a 1 here, so 4 times all this stuff first. So that's 3 to the 4th, x to the 32nd, y to the 8th. On this side, there's really a 1 there. Multiply the 2 by everything. So 2 to the 2nd, x to the 10th, y to the 20th. So that's the first step, but we're not done, because now we can use the multiplication rule. So I know I have x's with the same base, keep the base, add their exponents. That's going to be x to the 42nd. And then y's, keep the base, add the exponents, that's y to the 28th. But the part people always miss is this part. Because I can't combine 3 to the 4th and 2 squared and get like 6 to the 8th or something like that. I can't do that. So I'm actually going to have to, if I want to multiply those, I have to figure out what this is. So 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81. 2 times 2 is 4, and 81 times 4. Now I can multiply those together and get 324. So be careful with that number out in front. A lot of people miss that on their quiz, so just be careful with that one, okay? All right, that was a lot. Number 12, we have some power to a power going on. So we have 6, x to the 4th, y to the negative 3rd, over z to the 7th. And we're going to multiply negative 2 times everything on the inside here. So don't forget there's a 1 on the 6. So it's going to be 6 to the negative 2nd, x to the negative 8th, y to the positive 6th, over z to the negative 14th. And then I'm looking at this thing and I'm saying, hey, there's definitely some negative exponents, so I need to fix stuff. So 6 has a negative exponent, it's on the top, we need to move it to the bottom. X has a negative exponent, we need to move it to the bottom. Y is fine, I'm just going to leave it right where it's at because it has a positive exponent. But Z has a negative exponent, I need to move that, and the only place I can move it to is the top. So, my final answer here, I want Y to the 6th on the top. When I move Z up there, it's going to be to the positive 14th. And then 6 squared is on the bottom, and X to the 8th is on the bottom. There you go. Number 13 is similar to that, only less steps. 19, F to the negative 8th, G to the 3rd, H to the negative 15th. All right, so we got to move stuff. There's no multiplication or division rule because nothing has the same base. So the H has a negative exponent, it would need to move that. G is okay, because it's positive. F has a negative exponent, I need to move that. Negative 19, remember just like that one earlier, be careful, keep it there, because it really has a positive 1. So we're going to have negative 19 on the top, G to the 3rd, and then we're going to move F to the 8th on the bottom, H to the 15th on the bottom. And then the last one there, we have some division rule. X squared, Y to the 8th, Z to the 5th, over 2, X to the 10th, Y to the 6th, Z to the 7th. So when I do division rule, I'm going to subtract, right? Make sure you always do top minus bottom when you do these exponents. So keep the base, 2 minus 10 is negative 8. Keep the base, 8 minus 6 is 2. Keep the base, 5 minus 7 is negative 2. And then the 8 and the 2, they don't have the same base, so we do whatever the problem says. In that case, let's divide. And then you can probably see that we have some negative exponents again we gotta fix. So the 4 and the Y are okay, X needs to move to the bottom, Z needs to move to the bottom. So our final answer is 4Y squared over X to the 8th, Z to the 2nd. All right, 1 page down. Again, all of that stuff was on your quiz, so you can check out your quizzes. I know I wrote little notes in there on like things that you messed up, so if you want to check those out, you can. Yeah, cool. So, the second page then, for 15 we had B to the 9th times B to the 4th. And they want to know which ones are equivalent to that. So, the first thing I did was I simplified this. I'm multiplying so I can keep my base, add the exponents. B to the 13th. So that kind of rules out A and B already because they're not to the 13th. It definitely is C because it says B to the 13th. And then the other ones I'm going to have to do a little bit of math here. So if I subtract these, I get B to the negative 13th, which I can keep simplifying, make it a fraction, move it to the bottom, 1 over B to the 13th. Are those two the same thing? No, they're not, because one's definitely a fraction, right? So that one doesn't work. 1 over B to the negative 13th. Now that one is a negative on the bottom, so if I move it to the top, it would just be B to the 13th. Hey, that's the same thing. So yeah, it's definitely going to be E as well. And then I'll check F, B to the 7th times B to the 6th. Keep the base, add the exponents, and you can see you get B to the 13th again. So C, E, and F are all ones that you're going to get the exact same answer. This is what you get. Let's check 16 here. 16 we have 18y to the 6th over 2y to the 9th. So again, I'm going to simplify. My y is in the same base. 6 minus 9 is negative 3. 18 divided by 2 is going to give me 9. And then I need to make it a fraction. Y is going to move to the bottom. So I'm looking for 9 over y cubed. So that is the first option, A. So that's definitely going to be A. And then it's definitely not D, because that's not 9 over y cubed. The rest of them look like I might need to fix some stuff. Oh, I guess not E. It's not E. And it's not F, right? So they do both have y cubed on the bottom, but they have a 16 instead of a 9. So it's not anything on the right side, but it looks like B and C, we're going to have to check some stuff out. So if we do this all to the negative first, distribute, that's going to be y cubed over 9 cubed. I'm sorry, not cubed, to the first, positive first, which is close, but it's obviously flipped, right? So that's not going to work. And then C, y to the negative third over 3 to the negative second. They both have negatives, so we got to flip both of those. So that's going to be 3 to the positive second over y to the third. And 3 times 3 is really just 9. So hey, we got another one. That is going to give me the same thing as well. So it is also A and C are my options there. Okay? 17. 17, we had 13, y to the fourth, all to the 0. And we learned that if we have anything to the 0 power, it's always going to just equal 1, the number 1. So all of this stuff is to 0, so that means all this equals 1. So we're looking for choices in 17 that equal 1. Well, it's not C, because that's 0, obviously, and we got 1. D looks good, because what's 85 divided by 85? 1. Let's check the rest out. So A is x to the fourth over x to the fourth. Subtract your exponents, keep the base, x to the 0, which is 1. So it's definitely going to be that one. B looks like this, negative 6 times z to the positive 6. We can keep the base, add the exponents. Negative 6 plus 6 is, again, 0. And anything to the 0 is still 1. So it's going to be B. And then let's check E out. Let's see what's going on there. 1 to the 16th over 1 to the 15th. Keep the base, subtract the exponents. And 1 to the first is 1. So that one's good. And then F, 13y to the 0. Y to the 0 is 1, but we still have 13. Remember, these are multiplied together. So 13 times 1 is actually 13. That one does not give me 1, it gives me 13. So A, B, D, and E are all going to give me 1 in that case. All right, and then the last one on that page, now we're halfway through. Woo! It's kind of a lot to... when I'm like talking to the camera, I'm sure it's a lot to listen to this the whole time. Hopefully you're not too sleepy while you're going over this math, right? So we have A to the 6th over B to the negative 4th. So all we got to do to simplify this one is move B to the top. It'd be A to the 6th, B to the 4th. Now, this one looks like there's a lot of choices that we got to check. So on A, remember, there's really 1s here. So when I multiply 5 plus 1 is A to the 6th. 3 plus 1 is B to the 4th. That one's good. On B, we had A to the 7th, B to the 9th, over A to the 3rd, B to the 3rd. When we subtract, 7 minus 3 is A to the 4th. 9 minus 3 is B to the 6th. That one has our exponents switched, it looks like. Tricky, but it looks the same, but it's not. On C, we have another division. Oh, I wrote the letter C. There we go. A squared, B to the 8th, over A to the 6th, B to the 4th. 2 minus 6 is A to the negative 4th. 8 minus 4 is B to the 4th. And then A is going to need to move to the bottom. So that was going to be B to the 4th over A to the 4th, which is not the same because we don't have A to the 6th. And then we got 2 more to try. Can you see on this side? Oh yeah, if I move, you can see over here. A cubed B squared, all to the 2nd. So if I go power to a power here, multiply, that's going to give me A to the 6th, B to the 4th. Hey, that's what we're looking for. So that one is okay on D. And then on E, the last one here, A to the 5th, B squared, all to the 3rd. times a to the negative 9th, b to the negative 2nd. All right, distribute these ones. We got a to the 15th, b to the 6th. And then we can multiply. And when we multiply, we're going to add our exponents. 15 plus negative 9 is 6. And 6 plus negative 2 is 4. And that one gave it to me too. So that's a lot. On your test, I think there's 2 of them like this page. And I think you have 10 or 12, something like that, on the front page, okay? Be really careful, don't make mistakes. When you're done with this section, look it back over and make sure that none of your exponents are negative. Because if they're negative, you can make them into a fraction and fix it, okay? So that's a really good check before you turn it into me. You guys have, you're not like regular class where you only have 40 minutes. You guys have all day to work on this. Just make sure it's in by the end of the day. Check it over before you actually turn it in, okay? All right, let's talk scientific notation. So hopefully this side's not too bad. Oh yeah, 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So remember, when you're putting it in scientific notation, I'm going to put a decimal after the first digit. I'm going to count my spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So when I rewrite this, 2.54 times 10 to the 9th. On number 20, same idea. Put your decimal after the first digit that's not a 0. It'd go after the 6. We're going to count our spaces to the original, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got 6.04 times 10 to the negative 6. Let's say 21.00084. Put my decimal after the first digit that's not 0. Count until my original decimal. We went 4 to the left, so it's going to be 8.4 times 10. We went left, so it's negative 4th. All right. Let's see, 22. We got 18524. Put your decimal after the 1. Count your spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 to the right. So that means when I rewrite it, this time I'm going to have to write all these digits, but that's okay. Times 10 to the 4th power. Positive 4 because we moved to the right. Number 23. Decimal after the first digit that's not 0, that'd be 3. Count the spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's going to give me 3.6 times 10. And we went to the right 7, so it's positive 7. And then 24. Put your decimal after the last digit that's not 0. That would be after the 7. Count your spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to have 7. We don't need any other digits because everything else is ending zeros. Times 10. We went left 7, so it's going to be to the negative 7. You're going to have a couple of those on your test where you're going to have to write it actually in scientific notation. Follow those steps from your notes. Those should be like the gimmies on this one. All right, if you're struggling with that, let me know. Those are easy to fix. We can totally figure that out before your test tomorrow. Let's say we have to take them out of scientific notation, right? Like on 25, 26, 27. So 5.6 times 10 to the 4th. This says move it to the right 4. So I'm going to rewrite this, 0.56. 1, 2, 3, 4. The empties are 0. I'm going to warn you right now, do not leave it like that on your test. Because I don't know where your decimal is. Are you leaving it after the 5? No, we're moving it. So don't be lazy. Rewrite this. And that is your final answer, 56,000. 8.71 times 10 to the negative 6th. Again, we got to move it 6 spaces, this time to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All the empties are zeros. Rewrite it, don't leave it like that. Notice I put my decimal nice and bold so you can tell where it's at. So 0.000000871, that's your final answer. And then the last one, 4 times 10 to the 9th. We're just going to move it 9 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All those are going to be zeros in there. So your final answer, again, I'm going to rewrite it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You only have a couple of each of those on your test to kind of save some space and some time. And then let's go to the actual tough problems, all the operation ones, right? Let's see here, 10 o'clock, 9:55. All right, we're good. I'm in between classes, so I'm trying to make sure I finish this before you guys actually, people show up. So in number 28, we're subtracting. I think probably the best way for you guys is probably just to write these out in standard form. So 8.5 times 10 to the 6th, if I move my decimal 6 to the right, I get this. And then 3.22 times 10 to the 4th, 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure you line them up at the decimal point. They have to line up. Now you can use your calculator from here or the Desmos calculator. If you guys are just on your Chromebook, use the Desmos calculator, it's fantastic. But from here, when we write them out, then subtract them, just be careful, right? We're gonna have to borrow a whole bunch in this one if you're doing it by hand. 10 minus 2 is 8, 9 minus 2 is 7, 6, 4, 8. And then when you're done, make sure you put it back in scientific notation. So decimal after the 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. 8.46 times, 8.4678 times 10 to the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I thought I counted 6. Okay, there we go. So that's what you should have got when you subtracted. 29 is multiply. Multiplying, I do not write them out the long way. I'm just going to use my multiplication rules. So 6.3 times 10 to the negative 6th. Multiplication rules say keep the base, add the exponents. Keep the tens. Negative 3 plus negative 6 is 10 to the negative 9th. And then you're just going to multiply your numbers out in front. This time it gave me 19.656. But we know that decimal's not in the right spot. Hopefully you know that, actually. Because we really want it to be after this first digit. So I'm just going to fix it. If it moves 9 spaces from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many would it move from after the 1? I can count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when I put my decimal in the correct space, it's going to be 1.9656 times 10, and this time we only counted left 8 spaces. So when I fix my exponent, it's going to be negative 8. All right. Gonna make it. Let's see here, number 30 is multiplying again, so that's pretty easy. 2.3 times 10 to the negative 5th. 1.84 times 10 to the 11th. Now when I multiply these, again, we're gonna do the same thing. Keep the base, add the exponents, negative 5 plus 11 is 10 to the 6th. And then we're gonna just multiply 2.3 times 1.84, and I got 4.232. That one we don't have to fix anything, so we're just gonna leave it just like that. Hopefully you have a lot of those in your test, because that's pretty easy when you do it like that. 31 is addition. So again, I'm gonna write it out. 5, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'll do this one up here. 1.497. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm just going to write that one backwards like I do so I can line it up right at the decimal. 1, 2, 3, 7941. And then when we add, same thing as subtract. 7 plus 3 is 10. That's 12. That's 10. That's 2. So then put it back inside different notation. Decimal goes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 2.02 times 10 to the 7. All right, division 32. So when we divide, we're going to subtract our exponents. -8 minus -4 is going to give me -4. Careful there. Divide these two numbers, you get 0.7126. And again, our decimal is not in the right spot, right? It needs to be after the 7. So if it moves 1, 2, 3, 4 from there, from here it's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I fix my decimal, 7.126 times 10 to the -5th. That's good. And then 33 we had to add, it looks like. I'm going to move this way. So I'm going to write them all out. This time we move to the left 4. So 8.7, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0.00087. And the other one moves 6 spaces left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to line them up with the decimal. Again, this time the decimal's over here. And then I'm just going to add. Remember, if there's no numbers here, you just add zeros there. And then put it back inside different notation, decimal after the 8, 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces to the left. So 8.73067 times 10 to the -4th. Whew. All right, 2 left. 2 left. Can you see that? I'm sorry. Fix my camera. Up top there, I just kind of changed them, moved the decimals like I'm supposed to. Okay. All right. Last 2 on that page. Let's see, division. 9.42 times 10 to the 7th over 3.1 times 10 to the 12th. When we divide, we're going to subtract our exponents. So 7 minus 12 is -5. We divide the numbers out in front. That gave me 3.0387, something like that. That one, the decimal's in the right spot, so I can just leave it there, and I'm done.